So today we had a client come in with a Suburban saying that their sub was going in and out, and the reason was the fuse holder. As you can see, one of the screws is not in. Now, even though he had the fuse on it, what was happening is that every time the bass started hitting, it was moving the fuse up and down, losing connection. That was causing arcing and causing that amp to cut on and off, which is why the sub kept stopping. So we're going to replace this fuse holder, and we're going to attempt to clean it up a little bit, because I also don't like the fact that the power wire is so close to the engine, because that's a whole lot of heat and we don't want to damage the wire. Now I noticed the firewall had a lot of threaded studs on there, so I was thinking that might be a nice place to mount our new fuse holder. We're going to be using the Smd A&L fuse holder in the front, and we're going to use some distribution blocks in the back. Now, with this being some Tspec V12 wire, this is like oversized 0 gauge, so instead of using a 1-aught ring terminal, I had to use a 2-aught ring terminal. And to keep this connection solid, you know, we're going to use my favorite heavy gauge crimper from iWis at iCrimpTools.com. I like using this way better than a hydraulic crimper. If you guys remember that last review, I was able to pick my son up while he was holding on to this terminal, so that's how I know it's solid, and it gives me a nice stamp on the front of that ring terminal. Now, since we have a blue A&L fuse holder, I was going to use the blue custom printed heat shrink, but the Tech Flex that comes stock on the V12 wire is black and red, so I decided to use the black with the white print heat shrink just so it'll be a little bit more uniform, and I will be using blue in the back, so I'll just use the blue heat shrink in the back as well. What I want to do right now is put this on so I can do a test fit to make sure that it's going to fit correctly, and after some fitting and measuring, I understand where I need to go and what I need to do when it comes to my ABS plastic. So I want to score a little bit on here, and even though it's crooked, I'm not worried about it because I can always trim that up later. But we want to take a couple passes on the ABS plastic that we're using. This is a 1/4 inch, and then we're able to break it right after that. Now, first thing I want to do is trim up the edges a little bit and make sure that everything is straight. After I do that, I want to go ahead and start to round over the corners just so it gives a little bit of a cleaner look. Then put the fuse holder back on the plastic, and we're going to make a small little score on the corner, so when I heat it up with my heat gun, I know exactly where I need to bend it. With using the heat gun, you want to use enough even light passes to heat it up enough to where you're able to actually bend it. You don't want to use it too hard on one spot because you will singe up the ABS plastic. That's kind of what I did here because I was running my mouth, so I'm gonna have to try to smooth it out. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I like using 1/8 inch instead of 1/4 inch ABS plastic. But this A&L fuse holder is a little bit heavier than most, so we want to use the 1/4 inch just so I can have a little bit more strength. Because even though I got it bent to a certain angle and it's going to be bolted to this stud, I still want to be strong enough to where it's not going to drop over time. So I put the bolts on first and then added my A&L fuse holder because it's going to be easier that way, especially being in this tight area. But the words are upside down and that's going to bother me, so I had to do it all over again. And if you're thinking that's picky, then you are absolutely right. I am picky. As a matter of fact, off camera, the Smd fuse holder was pointing the other way, so I changed it before I recorded it because I didn't like the way it looked. And it is what it is, because I'm not necessarily saying I'm a perfectionist, but if it don't look right to me, then I don't think it's gonna look right to y'all, and then it's gonna bother me. Even if it don't bother you, it's gonna bother me, because a lot of people will actually say, hey, I don't really care about that. I understand you don't, but if somebody else looks at it, I want them to say, man, that looks good. Now, those threaded studs are for the little holders that's gonna hold that power wire up, but they are all broken, which is why the factory power wire is leaning close to the engine as well. So I asked the client, did he mind if I drill just a few holes inside the plastic part only, so I can make sure that his power wire is away from the engine? And of course he didn't mind, and I thought it was going to be a cleaner look, so that's what I did. It is not going through the metal. The last time I did this, somebody was like, oh, you should never drill through the cowl through the metal. Bro, it ain't through the metal, it's through the plastic. And look, the power wire is tucked away nice and neatly away from the engine, and I will go back and zip tie the factory power wire just to make sure that that's not close to the engine. Now, this is the part that sucks, I'm not gonna lie. I'm going in to fix everything up in the back, and then my camera cuts off, and I was so upset because I thought I was recording all of this stuff and the screen just timed out, but the battery died. But it's all good. Even though I was short on time, it came out looking good. I told y'all them blues was gonna look awesome in the back, and we got the sub working constantly. So till next time, this your boy JP signing out, telling y'all to keep going, keep growing, and have a blessed day. Peace.